Hey, is this Dave?
Yeah.
Hey, Dave, it's Jay and Mike from the Detroit Cast. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good.
Well, hey, Dave, Dwaihy, thank you so much for coming on the Detroit Cast today. Did I get the name right, Jay?
Dwaihy.
Dwaihy. Shit, I knew I was going to do that.
It's all good. It's all good.
It's nice to talk to you, and I understand you're taking a little break to jump on the show here, as you still have the second job, the actual job there. Are you teaching at the high school?
Mm-hmm.
Are you still at Grosse Pointe?
Yes, I'm at University Liggett School, a small independent school in Grosse Pointe Woods.
Nice. How do the students must love having a guy like you around there?
I hope so. I mean, the kids are great. I think they'd be nice to me no matter what, but it definitely gives me a little bit of street cred that I'm involved in this side project.
Well, I imagine you're the cool teacher now. I was reading a profile piece that MLive did on you, and they were talking about, the kids like stumbling into your game, and some of them didn't even know, and then they saw you, and then like you get to school the next day and they're all chanting your name in the hallways.
Yeah, that was kind of a glorious time for me. It's been all downhill ever since. But yeah, I definitely kept it under wraps a little bit when I was first getting started, and I didn't realize I'd be playing that first year.
Yeah.
Didn't really know what the team was going to look like. I was excited to try and be a part of it as a player, and that was certainly kind of the tail end of the time in my life where I could attempt to keep up with the college players in this league. But yeah, it was a really neat point of connection. I coach the boys in the fall. I coach the girls soccer team in the spring, and so there was a kind of a critical mass of interest in soccer at the time, and some kids just came out to the game randomly, and so it was a nice surprise for them to see me there, and vice versa. I was kind of shocked that kids had found out about it already.
Yeah, and of course, you're one of the owners of Detroit City FC, which is, of course, the soccer team that plays out at Keyworth Stadium in Hamtramck. It's a really interesting team. We've been down to a game last year, and I was just struck by the atmosphere and everything. It's amazing. But in this day and age of big money sports, you guys sort of blazed a trail and produced organically a really cool Detroit product. Did you think when you guys started this up, this team would garner this much interest?
We certainly hoped that it would grow steadily and in a sustainable way, but we never really foresaw what happened. I mean, I think in some ways we were kind of right place, right time. Soccer was on the brink of blowing up a little bit. NBC Sports had just gotten the rights to the Premier League, so it was kind of a cool and upcoming thing. But specific to Detroit, there are obviously some competitors. We got the Big Four, and yet I think there were a lot of people in the Detroit area and in the surrounding suburban area who kind of wanted to have a team to call their own, and so we tried to kind of do the ground up approach, like you said, and we got a lot of instant support from some really passionate supporters, and then I think with that came kind of this word of mouth that like, hey, there's a soccer game, there's kind of a party on the side, you should come out, check it out, and then word of mouth really took it from there, and so we've had significant and steady growth each year.
Was it everything you hoped for? I'm imagining it exceeded all of your expectations, the success that it's been so far. Yeah.
Yeah, you no doubt saw other soccer teams come and go, the Express, the Rockers, Neon, etc. I mean, all those names ring
Arsenal,
a bell.
Ignition.
Our listeners have been through that whole thing going, soccer in Detroit, right. But this is so different.
Yeah, I think what we've been able to tap into that's allowed us to, remain relevant is that, people really feel a part of the team. I think there's a sense of ownership among the supporters and the fans, and probably most importantly, the community that we're trying to serve. And so I think when you can tap into a local community and you're doing good and you're providing exposure to a sport that's globally recognizable, it's been kind of a recipe for success.
What do you attribute that to? Do you think that's partly the revitalization that's gone on in Detroit, or the popularity explosion we've seen with soccer? Or
it's hard to pinpoint one thing. I think what you've just said is definitely a big part of it. To me, what I've observed in our key demographic seems to be kind of the young professional. Whether they live in Detroit or in the suburbs, like just people that kind of like the idea of getting into the city. Attending a sporting event is obviously part of it, but more importantly, just the idea that there's this event that you can kind of access and feel a part of. I mean, when we first started, we played our games at Cass Tech High School, right downtown, beautiful landscape, and I think people were just happy to like be in the city and go to a bar before and after, and I think it appeals to a lot of people that you can kind of find yourself at the game. There's a lot of like-minded people. They're singing, they're chanting, they're standing up the whole time.
Throwing
You're right
smoke
up on the
bombs.
action.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The beauty of Cass Tech was that the crowd is right up on the field. And we picked a stadium in Keyworth that had that same quality. That was really important for our second home because it really does allow for people to feel part of the match. I mean, you're not supposed to, but you could certainly reach out and basically touch a player who's about to take a throw in. And so I think that kind of intimacy really lends itself to kind of a fervent supporter culture. And, people really seem to enjoy themselves. They can swear, they can sing and dance and kind of be themselves a little bit and get lost in it all. And more and more people seem to be coming out to do just that.
Yeah, and other than enhancing the intimacy, as you say, at Keyworth, tell me you're not going to improve that place at all. I love it the way it is. It's so gritty.
Yeah, well,
it's right in the heart of this neighborhood. I mean, you're standing in the stands, and right behind you is a rooftop. It's just chain link fence. It's very Detroit. Yeah,
and places like that are exceedingly rare, and I think Sean Mann, the person who had the idea for this whole thing in the first place, he had spent some time in Europe when he was in college, and to him it really reminded him of a lot of those really small, intimate stadiums like in England where you're just in the midst of a neighborhood and all of a sudden you hear something and you turn a corner and there's a stadium. And you heard the crowd from the street type thing. And Keyworth is embedded in the neighborhood. It's a soccer-loving community. It's a very diverse, ethnically and otherwise community. It's a really great place to call home for us. And the only improvements we've done have just been structural in nature. It was kind of on the brink of.
Didn't you guys raise like $750,000 to do?
We did.
Yeah. I mean, that's. What did you guys do? Crowdfunding, or was that just investments from people?
Yeah, it was kind of a unique. So we took advantage of some legislation that was passed in Michigan a few years ago. It's called the Mile Act, and basically the idea is kind of a version of crowdsourcing, but it was a true investment. It wasn't a donation. And so we were able to raise about $750,000 from investors who had been promised a rate of return on their investment from our revenue. In the next 5 to 6 years, we hope to get that all paid back. We're on track. We actually exceeded our targets in the first payment to the investors. And basically, we used all that money to salvage this kind of crumbling stadium. Added some did some improvements to the locker rooms, got running water through the showers and all that good stuff. And we're hoping to do a little bit more with the surface.
I was going to say the turf could use.
Down.
Yeah.
Why? What's wrong with the turf?
Turf could use
love, yeah.
It looks kind of like the Silverdome turf. To be honest.
No,
yeah, it does. And the other thing is that field is one of the most commonly used spaces, I would venture to say, in Metro Detroit. I mean, if you go out there pretty much any time, there's a ton of kids running around playing soccer. And so the idea that we've made that a safe space to be, and more importantly, in time, hopefully make that surface a little more safe and appropriate to play soccer on, there's going to be a lot of kids that benefit from that as well.
Well, it's an unbelievable atmosphere. Like we said, you got the
feels very European, doesn't it?
You got the train running right behind the one goal. I mean, you got food trucks. You don't have like a big concession. You do have concession, obviously, but it's not like a normal stadium that you see being built now. It's just a very, again, kind of intimate, gritty kind of atmosphere. Very cool. Beer is flowing.
Right.
And the smoke bombs are, the smoke is in the air. It's really neat. I encourage anybody to get down there and check it out. And I assume tickets are pretty affordable. What are they running?
Yeah, you can get a ticket at the door for $10. You can purchase it online in advance. And then our season ticket packages, which are all still available. We kind of have some tiered packaging. If you want just kind of the standard season ticket, we have kind of what we're calling our gold card this year, where you get some benefits like free parking and things like that. It's all on our website. If you want to take a look, I can mention that.
Tickets.detcityfc.com and all the packages are there. You can check them out. And it's really cool and unique to go downtown, have a stadium, a home team you can root for without having to spend $800 to take a family of 4 to a ball game.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, we got this. We've got a sponsorship with Stroh's. We have this. We call it our half hour happy hour for and then Stroh's are $2 during the game. I mean, it's really it's kind of a nice alternative to some of the more expensive outings that you might take in the city.
Absolutely. And, I wanted to ask you about MLS. MLS is in the news over the last couple of
Sure.
years with Tom Gorris and Dan Gilbert desperately wanting to bring a Major League Soccer team to Detroit. They've made the
Yeah.
pitch. It's just, it sounds like it's just a matter of working out that deal for the land where the jail site is currently downtown. Have they consulted you guys in any way regarding that? I mean, they have to be interested in harnessing kind of the grassroots fervor that you guys have built with your team.
Yeah, I mean, there have been a few preliminary conversations. They're aware of us. I think the reality is they have the wherewithal and the resources to do it on their own.
But if you want to do it right, you got to do it like you guys. I'm telling, like, we've seen Detroit soccer come and go.
Yeah.
You have something different here, and they have to be interested in that.
Yeah, and we hope that we hope they acknowledge that, and I think they do. I think they see like what we've done and kind of appreciate why it's worked and acknowledge that it has worked. We certainly have a lot of strength in our convictions in terms of our mission as a club and how we want the club to look and feel. And so we don't want to compromise any of that. If we were able to get to a point where we felt comfortable that our name and brand could somehow become incorporated and the direction seems to be in line with the direction we want to take. I think those are conversations to be had, but I think the reality is, they're probably, like you said, it's probably not if, it's more like when, and in the time in between, we're a Detroit soccer team, and so we're going to do our best to grow and become, what we've always envisioned we had the potential to become, especially when we saw that initial response.
You'll do that and keep growing until Gilbert comes to you with some ridiculous offer.
Yeah, and our supporters are pretty adamant about. I think they really believe in what we've got going, and nobody wants to see that go away. So, as an ownership group, we're certainly committed to maintaining our trajectory, focusing on what we're doing.
Until he offers $20 million.
We cannot. We are. We'll see.
Well, I think they have to be careful though if they're just assuming like, hey, we'll gobble these guys up and we'll have what they have because they come from the land of shooting T-shirts out of air guns into the crowd, NBA timeout bullshit.
Yeah.
Whereas you guys just have a real fervor. And the one game I was at last year, I remember seeing a bunch of FMLS signs. People going, they're not going to go easy.
Yeah, they don't want corporate. They don't want a corporate team. They want the grassroots team that they've got now.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely something we got going for us is that people appreciate the way we've done it, and even if that big show did come to town, we could still remain relevant as the the community-based grassroots alternative, which we all feel just as excited to be a part of, even if numbers dropped a little bit because of it or whatever.
We should tell them it's at 3201 Roosevelt Street in Hamtramck.
Parking in and around that area is a little bit tricky, so we've got an official pre-match bar at the Foaling Warehouse where parking's free, and there's a march over to the stadium with the supporters. Nice. There's a ton of local eateries and bars and restaurants that you can patronize as well before heading over, and there's some parking at Veterans Park, which is located right behind the stadium. So I'd suggest if you're going to come out, get there a little early. The march from Foaling to the match is really cool. The streets get filled. The local neighborhood, little kids are on their front porches cheering on the supporters as they walk in. It's a really cool and very unique sporting event, and as a fan, it's a really unique fan experience. So, and our schedule is online on that website that you guys mentioned earlier.
Very good. And if you want to get tickets, we recommend it. It's a lot of fun out there. The support is incredible. What you guys are doing down there, it's something that people can definitely get behind. So it's tickets.detcityfc.com, detcityfc.com, and go support them. And congratulations, Dave. It's really impressive what you guys have built, and continued success.
Hey, thank you so much. It's been an honor to be on your show. I really enjoy it, and we really appreciate the publicity. Every little bit helps, and hope some of the listeners give it a shot. You certainly won't regret it, and a lot of fun. It's good food, good drinks, and a good atmosphere.
For sure, and we'll definitely come find you when we come out. We're looking forward to coming out to some games ourselves.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, please do. I'll grab you guys a beer.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave.
Take care.
Have a good one, man.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
How cool is that, dude?
Oh,
I love the idea of, like, you kind of touched on it, the whole what we see with these big games and these long extended timeouts and shooting
Just the
T-shirts and
bullshit of
mascots
it.
and doing dumb trivia in the crowd and on the
Plastic.
jumbotron. It's manufactured corporate bullshit meant to just keep everyone's attention. And what I love about this, and I haven't been to a game, you have, I love the idea of smoke bombs in the crowd, parade marching into the stadium, and the fans like face painting. They're traveling with the team. They're singing and chanting.
I was there with my boys, and Isis went as well.
That section,
Gee.
that section on the other side.
Yeah, the Northern Guard.
Oh my God,
It's tailor made for E.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
Ty and I.
If you want to be part of a tribe,
Yes, yeah, that cult following kind of thing.
You paint your face, jump in there, jump up and down. And
TCG and I. The only problem is almost you would have to like. I'm not saying you couldn't get in there. Anyone could just get in there, but it's like I almost have to feel like I had to do one and then do it the next time because they had chants the entire game.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
yeah.
And they all knew them. But I was
It's
gonna
so
say,
cool though, dude. You think
It's
about that
neat.
little Detroit and some basically neighborhood in Hamtramck, and that kind of attitude is going on. Like I'm always impressed when you watch these European hooligans in a stadium with 80,000 people in it, and they're all just singing.
Yeah.
And they know exactly what's going on and fireworks. And to have this going on in a little neighborhood in Detroit is
It's a
amazing.
much smaller scale. We're talking,
Yeah.
5,000,
That's even better.
3,000 to 5,000 people, but
Yeah.
it's really interesting.
I read that when they moved into this stadium, is it true they had
think
like
they-
7,800 people there?
I was going to say close to 9, but that sounds right.
Okay, I'll ask you this because you're a good judge. How was the competition?
They're guys who played in college, a lot of them locally. And yeah, I mean, it's not MLS, which isn't European.
Right.
Which isn't, La Liga and shit like that. It's definitely a step down. But dude, college soccer players are very talented. I just recently went to Ultimate Soccer close to here, an indoor place, and watched Michigan State, Butler, a couple other teams, Oakland, and another team play. And you're right there up front. And dude, these guys are no joke. These are athletes, fast, skilled.
Yeah.
And like David said, I mean, you're right there on the field with a small crowd of people.
It's so cool.
And dude, if you're, it's cliche, but if you're looking for good family entertainment at an affordable cost, it really is. It's a neat, different thing to do. Support something Detroit.
Yeah, and it's easy to get behind something like that. Like I remember going when we were young, we didn't have shit for money, and going down and watching like the Junior Wings play. That was at the Joe, right?
Yep.
And you could get right on the glass, and the competition was strong. It was awesome. It was so much fun, and something like this where you get these big crowds and party atmosphere and beers, the food trucks. I mean, that's very, very impressive what they've done, man.
It's worth checking out. It might not be for everybody. I know not everybody's into soccer, but it's worth checking out.
Yeah. Are you going to
It's
paint your face?
affordable enough to go check it out.
I might. I like, dude.
You loved it.
TCG and I went last time, the time that Jay went, and we both. I told him about, hey, dude, we should go to another game this year. And his first thing was like, yes, but let's sit over on that section, dude. Let's sit over in the student section almost, or whatever you want.
I'll say this too. I never buy merchandise.
Yeah.
I bought a T-shirt.
Oh,
me and my
really?
Me and my boys each got a T-shirt. That night.
I wanted to buy a scarf. But that would just be so douchey for me, because I know people would know that it's not kind of me. But I did want to. I wanted to buy something.
Yeah,
It's
They've-
not
some
douchey,
sweet
dude. I mean,
merchandise.
you're almost getting in on the ground floor at this point. Usually, you're the guy 20 years too late to the
Right, I know,
EDM
dude.
scene. You know what I mean? Like rave parties were going on when we were in high school,
No,
Jay, and
keep-
he just found out about them like
If
last
you keep
week.
your eye out, you'll see DCFC stuff around town.
Yeah.
you might not realize until now what it was, but you
Yeah.
see people
Well, the
wearing
colors,
stuff.
I love their colors.
Yeah, the
and their
maroon and-
jerseys. Yeah.
Maroon and the gold.
Yeah, I like the logo, the Spirit of Detroit with the soccer ball. It's cool. It's cool. I'm actually excited to go to a game. I don't get excited anymore to go to stuff, but I really want to
It's
see
different.
that kind of circus atmosphere, at a neighborhood in Detroit. I mean, it's just been so long since we've seen really cool shit going on downtown, and to see it now happening.
Yep.
With the stadiums being built, the shows that are coming into town, the revitalization, and then something like this. It's just very cool. Again, if you wanna go check it out for yourself, say it again: tickets.detcityfc.com.
And thank you to David Dwaihy of Detroit City FC.
Dwaihy, I believe it was Dwaihy. It's Dwaihy.
It is Dwaihy.
It's gonna be a party in Detroit.